Tensions flared on July 9th as Brazilian President Lula da Silva hit back at U.S. President Donald Trump, who announced a 50% tariff on all Brazilian imports. The move is seen as politically motivated, tied to Trump's continued support for Jair Bolsonaro, Brazil's former president now facing trial for attempting to overturn his 2022 defeat. Lula condemned the tariffs on X, saying, "Brazil is a sovereign nation. We will not accept tutelage." He warned of retaliation under Brazil's economic reciprocity law. He also defended Brazil's judiciary, stating the coup trial is a domestic legal matter, not subject to foreign pressure or threats. The announcement came just hours after Brazil summoned the U.S. ambassador in Brasilia, protesting a statement by the American embassy that described Jair Bolsonaro as a victim of political persecution. Bolsonaro, who lost the 2022 presidential race to Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, is currently on trial for allegedly plotting to remain in power after his defeat. In a dramatic escalation, U.S. President Donald Trump on Wednesday announced a 50% tariff on all Brazilian imports, effective August 1st. The move comes as a direct response to what Trump called a witch hunt, referring to the ongoing trial of former Brazilian President Jair Bolsonaro. In a strongly worded letter to Brazilian President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva, Trump lashed out, calling Bolsonaro's prosecution an international disgrace. Trump also emphasized that Bolsonaro was highly regarded by world leaders, including during Trump's own presidency, signaling that the tariff move is not just economic, but deeply personal. Brazilian President Lula da Silva, in his post on X, pushed back against Donald Trump's claim of a U.S. trade deficit with Brazil, calling it misleading. The claim of a U.S. trade deficit with Brazil is inaccurate, Lula stated, citing U.S. government data that shows a $410 billion trade surplus in goods and services over the last 15 years. He also addressed the role of international businesses, stating that all companies, whether foreign or domestic, must follow Brazilian law to operate in the country. Lula further emphasized that freedom of expression cannot be confused with aggression or violence, particularly when it comes to digital platforms and content moderation, a likely reference to Trump's criticism of Brazil's regulatory actions on social media. So we don't want an emperor. Our countries are sovereign. If Trump issues tariffs, other countries have the right to do the same. There is the reciprocity law. I think it's not responsible for a president from a country like the U.S. to threaten the world with tariffs on social media. Honestly, there are other forms for the president of a country the size of the United States to talk to other countries. The BRICS group was not formed to confront anyone. It just wants to be another model, another way to do politics. No one is going to ask Iran to change its position on Israel. But Iran's stance toward other countries is Iran's own matter. Since Iran is close to the region and in the heat of the disputes, it may have its own perspective, but we still believe that the two-state solution must be pursued.
Dos BRICS, que se tem o Brasil como representante permanente, depois da rejeição da Argentina.
The world needs to find a way for transactions not to depend on the U.S. dollar.
Um abraço.